What is going on, everybody? I have Kassia here, one of my favorite and most innovative COOs of the Goodwill Network. Please get an introduction of yourself.
Hey, good morning, Di. Thanks for joining with me. I am Kassia Lilly. I am the COO for the Goodwill Industries of Kanawha Valley here in the heart of West Virginia. I've been here a little over 6 years. I reside here with two of my daughters, Grace and Rachel, and we have a handful of little pets.
Nice, awesome. So maybe we'll talk about your pets first. What pets do you have?
So we have, and I say this very proudly, we have Mr. Beta named Bradley that he's been with us. he's going really strong. He's been with us since September of last year. He was one of my younger daughter's birthday gifts, but Bradley's doing well. And we also have a Doberman that we have that is my oldest daughter's dog. And she's a lot of energy, but we couldn't live life without her.
No, I'm the same way with our family pets. Dogs especially have my heart, but I'm a animal person just in general.
Yeah, I can't imagine life without the little paw friends. Although I've had a few reptiles in my life. Reptiles are the easiest. You can travel. They're fine without you. The fur babies you end up packing with you.
100%. What kind of reptiles? I know I personally had some geckos back in the day. Are you a snake person or a lizard person? Or maybe do you have a crocodile? Who knows?
No. So actually, the most recent, we had a golden python. Her name was Goldie. And fabulous. I kind of lost that bet because it was Father's Day weekend. I wanted a bearded dragon. I love beardies, but I wanted a bearded dragon. But since it was Father's Day weekend, my now ex-husband was able to pick, but he picks the python over it. Really, though, I believe it or not, I think I was a snake person. But she was the easiest pet, and she actually, you could tell she had feelings, and you could tell when she was happy, she wanted to hang out with you, and you could tell when she wanted to be in her cage and just locked away.
Really? I've never owned a snake before. I didn't know you could tell that they had a difference of emotion, which is fascinating itself. I know, like lizards, for me, the little lizards, they just come and go, but maybe snakes definitely sound a little different.
Yes. There was times I'm like, oh, she looked grumpy. We're going to leave her alone.
Why do you think people have such a big snake phobia in general?
That's a good question. I don't know. Maybe because you can see more of, a lot of snakes, even not so scary ones. You can kind of see where they stand up and they want to strike. But I had a little stint in my past life of working for a pet store. Goldie never bit me, but I've been bitten by a small snake twice, and it's like stapling your finger. It hurts, but you just move on. I don't know. So that is interesting. Where other, geckos and bearded dragons, people don't have that same fear.
Yeah, interesting. And you kind of touched on it as well. I know you worked at PetSmart for 5 years, right? Coming up, your career in general. What'd you learn at PetSmart, which translates to the Goodwill?
That is a great question because you wouldn't sometimes see if you're not on the inside, understanding how that world kind of does have some similarities. For us, we worked in the same building. I had one store. I worked in a couple of the different management roles before I was the store manager, but we had a couple of different goals. We had inside the same 4 walls, we had 4 different businesses essentially. So we had the live pet goals. We had a salon. And you were driving revenue through salon services. Then we had the store revenue that you were focused on. And then as a part of doing good and their commitment to pets, you had live adoption goals that you had to create. And in the pet business, the way they had it set up, we didn't sell pets, meaning dogs and cats. We had to partner through agencies outside of us to come in and set up in the cat centers that most stores had. We didn't have a veterinary office in our building, but they did have some that did. And then on weekends, we set up a lot of events for them to bring dogs over for the community to do, which that was one of the questions when I was actually interviewing for Goodwill to be a district manager for them, because in most big box retail, if you don't have multiple departments, you're just managing one thing. And then when you're a district manager, you're managing multiple things all the time. And the fun part there, which a lot of people wouldn't know, is you really have to go out and help folks get a true 501c3, I think is the same thing they use then. But we would work with agencies, but they had to become a true certified nonprofit before we could actually do events. And so some of that even it translated over here into the Goodwill world.
Very cool. Yeah, I know. The thing that I like, one of the things I like most about Goodwill is you guys have like different line items of business, and relatively each Goodwill network is very entrepreneurial in the sense of finding different line items and how to make more money. Because again, you guys are constrained in a certain territory, right? So you kind of have to, you can only get so many donated good retails. I know we talked multiple times about cleaning as well, correct? And maybe that was a potential lineup. You guys took over a new business about that. Kind of what in that, what else do you see to be a good line of business on the Goodwill side? So we're going to dive deep into that Goodwill network that isn't the donation good retail or the online presence.
So for us, we do actually here at our Goodwill, and probably about 35% of Goodwills do this now. We run a fairly robust janitorial custodial cleaning business. For us, the need came, I'm going to say, over 20 years ago when a local establishment that was serving a lot of West Virginians in that disability rehab space that was doing a lot of the cleaning contracts locally, it went bankrupt, and Goodwill was positioned and ready that they took over the cleaning contracts and actually brought most of those employees on immediately, so they never really missed any work. Part of Goodwill's mission, and a lot of folks know this, it's not only sustainability, which I love, but we're putting people to work. And a lot of what we do is sometimes we have to meet folks where they are and then kind of help move them along the spectrum. Our goal is always to move folks out of poverty, and we can't always, well, we know we can't do that with a frontline minimum wage job. So for us, in our territory, we have our own 16 traditional brick and mortar stores. We operate an online platform through Shop Goodwill where we have an e-commerce store. But we have about probably 100 contract sites that we're cleaning, and that diversifies our revenue, but it truly is, and it is a profitable business line for us, but it truly is employing almost 300 folks that really do thrive in that very repetitive business model. I would say something that I personally have been trying to do for a revenue generating source, but also just because of the type of work it is and the repetitiveness of it for entry level work, but also helping move people out of poverty. I've been working hard in developing manufacturing contracts, and we don't have one at this point in the stage I hope to see it in, but I think with emerging technologies, the Internet of Things, AI, I know that part of it is too upskilling. We need to help our folks upskill.
100%. That's awesome. And then on that manufacturing side, like I personally think that the green tech is going to continue to kind of like get that rolling. We're seeing a lot of jobs down in Mexico, also coming back to the United States that is manufacturing. Where are you kind of seeing that manufacturing job or role coming these next 5-10 years? You know, we talked about AI, you talked about Internet of Things. Is it going to be more technology? Is it going to be more like construction? Do you have a thought on that?
This is truly my opinion, and and so, take it for what it's worth. I do see the green evolution is definitely one of the mega trends. If you're watching mega trends, I think initially we're going to be able to see that in construction because we're bringing so much work back here in the United States. We have so many construction needs that we're to even have energy efficiencies and even have some of the technology we need. I think that's some of the first steps. We know there's not enough for us, and West Virginia is a little bit different than some other places. We actually have but we have able-bodied folks that we need to get put to work. So the people are a heavy resource for us, but all over the country, there's not enough people to fill a lot of the jobs still. And we've seen that since COVID started. But also with that, and, looking at mega trends, the future of work looks so different. And as a society, with all of our partners, with folks like you, together, we've got to help navigate what this looks like in order to keep our people ready for the workforce.
Yeah, 100%. Even on our end, right? We're seeing so much change from even our internal AI is doubling every 6 months. So it's growing so fast and there's no way to stop it. Kind of the cat's out of the bag kind of mentality. You got to know on top of that. How do we adapt and change to the future so that I don't think in the next 10 years it's going to replace jobs, right? Like superficially, right? Like as in it comes in and takes one of your guys' store people, right? I think it's going to be an add-on, especially near term, to help out. Like, how do you speed up processing in the background? That's kind of what we're focusing on recently. Obviously on the retail side and then the e-commerce side. But it's like, how do we train those people to figure out what they need? Actually, a lady came to me when I was in New Mexico on Friday, asking, what type of jobs are you seeing going to be a big need? And the biggest thing I said is like technology and also being able to be good with their hands, right? Like a tech just in general could be IT tech, or for us it'd be like hardware tech, being able to fix things. And when something goes down, let's say our conveyance system goes down, you need to be there to fix that if it does, right? So that's kind of where I'm seeing kind of the job placement and change, at least where we're sitting as well.
I would agree with that. I don't see the initial impact taking away the jobs. What I see is one, and I think it's probably kind of where the lady you were talking to in New Mexico is coming from. It's we need as society and leaders to kind of identify what this looks like and then go out. I think we've got the go out point, and then we need to work it backwards. I think there's so much intimidation and fear over something that I think all of us would be great at. We were very industrious society not long ago, and we can go back to that. It's just not something folks are familiar with. But I think we collectively have to really start putting an emphasis on understanding what the technology is going to look like, and then how do we mobilize our workforce to be ready for that. And it's going to take all of us, because I think it's just so different.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's going to be a complete 180 and very soon, right? Like, let's say you put machine vision in your guys' operations, right? The change that people are going to need to know, right? Maybe they don't. So for us, like scanning items, right? Maybe they don't just look at it and type into a POS. Maybe they put it on a machine, right? Maybe they need some of that kind of more technical background. It's gonna change, and I'm super excited for it. And we have even in Arizona, we have the self-driving cars from Volvo that are out. So if you're coming down to Arizona, you'll be able to see self-driving cars with no driver. It's a crazy experience if you're getting one. It's like you call it like an Uber. It comes, shows up, and then just drives around. It's crazy.
Have you done it yet?
Yeah, definitely. It is freaky, but an experience that you don't forget, and it's the same price, which is crazy. I think it's going to be even cheaper in the future.
They need to be able to scale it. So that was funny. We were traveling not long as a group, and we were at when you're in the bigger cities, there's more opportunities. And they were like, if they show up driverless, they said I would be the only one to get in. And I was like, well, I probably would. I sometimes I might trust some technology more than what a human distracted. Human distractions are on. So
yeah, crazy, right? Crazy. Yeah. And then you've been talking about like leadership, kind of jumping back to that the change, right? I know that you talk you have 6 commandments of foundations of success for leadership. Lead by example, communicate openly, be reliable, empower others, celebrate success, and build relationships. I know number 1 is lead by example. Even this new upcoming revolution of tech, like what is something that you think that others could do to help lead by example and become that that foundational leadership that maybe some people need?
For one, what comes to mind when you're asking me, and for me, and specifically to work, we're getting ready to go into a new strategic plan. And so we're going to get to build that. And even next week, we're going to a conference and I'm taking 2 of the folks on my team with me. And part of their job is to go to this conference, understand what the vendors have to offer us. We have got to embrace technology. We have a shortage in human capital right now. We could work with the current amount of staff we have faster and at least be more efficient if we had some of this technology and equipment already in place that we should have probably adopted years ago. But in no disrespect to the leaders before me, they grew up in a time where it was saving jobs. They didn't see where we were at, and I don't have the bodies to do the work, but I could work smarter. So part of it is leading by example is one, in the strategic plan, I'm thinking about how I'm going to implement goals that are going to hold us accountable for the future. We've got to start thinking about it now so that we're there. And then at conferences now, more specifically, understanding what's available and then help and putting the resources available for the staff. I do at my seat, I get to control some of the resources and I have to let them have the option to buy and test things and then see what that looks like. Maybe we implement it. But for us as leaders, we've got to really embrace it.
Yeah, 100%. And you kind of talked about as well, which I definitely see. There's definitely some people in any kind of large corporation that are kind of stuck on that kind of older mentality, right? I know bringing that as a leader, bringing that forth is difficult. How do you kind of help change that perception for people around you or other corporate entities that you see?
I think we have to start by having the conversations a lot of the time. And I think, which Goodwill, we get together 2 or 3 times annually and we share. And because we are restrained by territory, you can't necessarily compete with each other. So that sharing is what makes our model beautiful. We can share and hopefully it moves partners along. But also, I think it's taking calculated risk and being the example. You as a leader, probably some of the times you're making decisions without all the information. You end up, just trusting your gut and your resources. And you then, as you move through, you can start pivoting and making better decisions. But I think some of it is going to be whether it's a small collection of us saying, hey, let's go ahead and do robotics here. Let's see what this looks like, from a retail perspective. And there's places that are experiencing across the country things that I'm not facing. But a $20 minimum wage in some parts of the country is real. And our thrift retail model, that it really doesn't work that way. The labor is our biggest expense outside of leases. So when you have that facing you, we need to embrace technology like you're saying. How could we get more done to protect, which one of the global megatrends that we follow is workforce development. Goodwills across the country, without the revenue, you can't do the workforce development.
Yep.
How can you do this? And like some of the, my predecessor, it was very much, she's seen us as, if I would have told her this today, she would have told me I'm taking away a job. Mm-hmm. But now how can we protect and future, the programs themselves, but how can we protect the future revenue source by adding this type of technology in?
Yeah, no, 100%.
It's a new way of thinking.
Yeah, no, 100%. And if you don't do it right, who else will? I think that's the thing that I think of the most. Like there's only so much. Let's use your DGR, the donated good retail of Goodwill, for an example. There's only so much used product out there, right? So if you're unable to get that product or unable to process it, right? Like somebody else is going to take the cake. We're starting to see with like what ThreadUp came in and started beating up a bunch of product, the Real. I know there's other large corporate thrifts like the Savers. There's a bunch of different people out there that, again, if you don't take advantage of it, because you guys are usually the leaders of the industry, then somebody else might, and then you start eating out that space, which could cause a lot of issues. I know we talked, I think it was in California, about even the donation stream, right? Like bins being placed everywhere. The ThreadUp, the Real, other big corporate thrifts, or even just basic marketplace and eBay trying to buy that stuff in, right? But if you lose your donation, unable to process it, like then the actual mission services are going to be gone, right? That hurts more people than being able to help somebody move faster, or if there's a job that you can't even replace. It's kind of the big thing that we're being told. Like, I wish I could hire 10 people, but I'm only able to hire 8 right now, right? Like, if there's a way to kind of have those two and use that extra revenue for mission services, that'd be an amazing win.
Absolutely. And I think that conversation, and then just, we have to do that, or we're not, Goodwill's been around over 120 years now. What we've done from workforce development, and then second to sustainability. I'm very passionate about sustainability and the circular movement, and I think you are too. It's amazing, but like all businesses and all things, you have to keep evolving. And this is, we're standing on the shoulders of some great people beyond us. But I do think with technology and with what's coming, there's such a, I'm going to say, I don't want to use the word fight, but that's the only one that's coming to mind. There's such a fight right now for who can get to the donation. And it's to me, and I don't think it's changed right now. My opinion is whoever can get there within the convenience. I know some people are connected to us, know that we're doing good with it, and it's workforce development, but that's not why they're donating to us necessarily. So we have to, one, stay competitive there. But, with the zero waste initiatives that are already in the EU, California has some new legislation. This circular economy too, Goodwill right now, in my opinion, still does that very well.
The best.
We've got to think about this, how we're going to play this out, because we have to.
Yep. No, 100%. Goodwill has been the leading innovator, especially in the sustainability effort, right? I don't think anybody comes even close. You guys are the best by far at your DGR and even maximizing the items and bringing them back to the US. I think something that's crazy is the other for-profit thrift, they don't even do outlets, right? So these go overseas and they might get thrown away. They might they go to salvage, but we don't know where they go. Every item that Goodwill puts back on the market is a win for sustainability across the board, right? Like, I'll get more of that. And even on the circularity part, what do you see around the Goodwill network that's being done for the circularity sustainability? What are you guys doing internally? I would love to teach everybody a little bit more.
So actually, for me specifically, and I'm very excited about this, over the last 4 years, we've grown our model significantly. We have the 16 stores. Within the next 12 months, you will see us open an outlet, which is, like you said, one, it's kind of like lining up dominoes. We got to have enough product to run the outlet, and we're there. Now we're working on a remodeling project to turn one of our existing sites into an outlet. So we need to do that before we take it to the salvage market, which is what we're doing now. So we are doing that. But I have colleagues all over the country doing some pretty cool things. We've got a couple different Goodwills now working with the glass, we see a high amount of glass, trying to figure out how to resell that as a commodity or get it down to a usable product. Some are grinding it. Some are doing some pretty cool, innovative things. Out where you are out in Arizona, the folks there in Phoenix have really, and what they're doing I can't even describe, but they've got a partnership with the university they are really diving in on plastics. And I think that's huge. Regionally, and I think this will probably play out across the country. Regionally, we recently had a meeting of what that looks like, how we made what we're going to do if somebody, say Arizona, gets this plastics model figured out. One Goodwill my size alone is not going to be able to make an impact. But what are we going to do to get that to a centralized hub? What are we going to do? Because part of all of this is building in how you scale it.
No, 100%. And then even like on the Arizona base, if you guys are able to you guys have the way to resell those products right inside your stores and e-commerce. So like that'd be a great way to take used goods and upcycle them and then resell them inside of your guys' actual locations, which would be awesome across the board. Again, some of the stuff that you guys are doing, you guys and across the Google network is, I think, the next kind of turn in the cog for sustainability. You talk about the glass, that's a big win. The plastics, big win. Even what kind of we're talking about with the clothing. I know there's the Salvage for Good is a great opportunity as well for people, and there's other really cool opportunities in general. I know going out and kind of see the whole process. I personally think for clothing, what's going to happen next is you guys will become the grading facilities. Is really where I look at the Goodwills. It goes to your outlet and you start grading it. And you actually own the product through the whole product lifestyle. It's like, well, I really think that can be done only with machine vision technology, but there's some Goodwills that are even trying to do that at a scale that you can actually take different types of bills. Like let's say there's 10 to 20 bills that are different types of items, and increase the revenue on that. And you can determine where it goes as well, which is pretty dang cool.
Yes, that actually is. I think we have the ability, and we are the largest collector of the product at this current state, and we could do that.
100%. And then last but not least, you talked about you saw a change, kind of going back to the retail side when the Facebook Marketplace started, and in one of your other podcasts you did. I would love to kind of hear more about that. What was there a direct shift in buying habits that you saw beyond the floor, or whatnot?
You know, it's funny you mention that, and I sometimes bring it up often. Facebook Marketplace made used goods cool, in my opinion. There was a stigma growing up in my generation that if I needed to shop at Goodwill, it was because of economic conditions inside my home. And there was a stigma that went along with that. It might, I mean, whether it's right or wrong, perception's everything. But I don't know when this truly changed, but for me, I would say probably about 2010 that you've seen folks really starting to say, hey, you want my new used sofa for $100, and then it's went all through all kinds of scales. But with every evolution, if you don't keep attracting your younger shoppers for retail, you kind of see what I'm going to say I experienced when I worked with Kmart. Our shoppers, the golden era kept aging out. We didn't attract the younger shoppers, and they went to something new that they were familiar with. But with Facebook, it made thrifting cool. I love it when I hear my CFO tell me that her young daughter is found a win in one of our stores and she resold it. And, now she doesn't need as much money from mom sent to her. But truly, which is a great thing. A lot of our shoppers are resellers. So we're able to work and generate revenue and provide job training skills for our participants and community members. And then what we're not even gauging is all the resellers that are paying their power bill, sending their kids to college on the items that we have sold in the store. It's such an evolution, and we're doing so much good, but it's so fragmented. Sometimes you either forget or you don't see it.
No, 100%. And the amount of people you guys probably unintentionally get them in jobs, it's probably astronomically more than, because I know when I was in high school and middle school, you guys gave me a job, so I appreciate that unintentionally. But I mean, again, there's so many resellers out there. There are actually at least 100,000 that goes to Goodwill as kind of their first stop. to get products and then resell online. And it's truly, I know I appreciate the helpful entrepreneurial lessons which that helped as well.
Yes, you are a very young entrepreneur. I love it. And you embrace technology. You were in all the things.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Awesome. Right out of time. But anything else that you would want to give the audience, some tidbits, something you guys are working on, anything that you think would be helpful or useful?
I would say just our commitment, one, to our community to grow, to develop, and serve. They'll see quite a few new retail projects in the coming months. But behind the scenes, they know that Goodwill as a whole, but specifically our Goodwill, our leadership team is working really hard to be relevant for the future and for our communities just to be bigger, better, and brighter. So I appreciate you reaching out and us on this platform. Our relationships just continued to grow, and I love it.
Awesome. Awesome. So yeah, thank you for your time, and I'll be chatting in the near future as well.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks, Ty. Have a great day.